Hi, everybody. This is Tracy Malone, and I am the founder of NarcissistAbuseSupport.com. I am a coach globally, and I have written a book on divorcing your narcissist and about 35 journals at this point that are designed to help you heal. But today, my guest is going to talk about thriving through uncertainty. And I met her many years ago after I was at a thrift store and I bought her first book, A Year Without Fear. It's a daily journal, 1, 2, 3, every day you read something. And at the end of 365 days, I was like, oh my God, I got to get more of this woman. I need it. And I ended up looking her up, finding out that she was actually here in Denver and that she taught Course in Miracles courses. So I immediately got on the phone with a bunch of girlfriends and we decided to sign up, and I have forever been addicted to her work. Tama Kieves is her name, and she was a Harvard graduate and was working for a big law firm. And talk about uncertainty. She gave up her law firm job to really help people live their most extraordinary lives, and it truly is. I've been taking her Course in Miracles so many times now. It's almost my own therapy, and it just changes from fear to love, and it's just the most powerful thing. But today we're going to talk about thriving through uncertainty, because my clients, as you well know, if you're one of the people that are in my audience, you do know how uncertain our lives can be when we're, overcoming a narcissist, and it's really scary. So we're going to ask Tama all kinds of questions, and Thriving Through Uncertainty is her other book. This is our topic today. And I read this in a pool in Mexico, and I couldn't put it down. I was like, I need this. Again, I'm just sucking up as much as I can. And even though I'm healed, I am still going, how can I get better? What don't I know? And so let's talk to Tama and ask her about the uncertainty that we all face when we're in a narcissistic relationship. So without any further ado, let's go meet Tama. Hi, Tama. Welcome back.
I'm so glad to be here.
I love when we get to meet and share our juice with the world, because you have so much power and you have just inspired me. I have told people that you are my therapy. When I go to Course in Miracles, you are the girl and you just fill my happy hole. And so today we're going to be talking about uncertainty, and it's based on your book, Thriving Through Uncertainty, which I read on vacation, and I just couldn't put it down. But Thriving Through Uncertainty is different with victims of narcissistic abuse, right? They are dealing with people, and sometimes it's abrupt. They don't know where they're going to live, who they're going to, how they're going to pay their bills. They are absolutely opposite of thriving. They are panicking with fear and anxiety, and this fear could be crippling. So it's hard to be like, well, how do I live through the uncertainty when I don't know where I'm going to eat my next meal? It's a different, level. They don't have dreams. They just want to make it through tomorrow and that sort of thing. So, their hope gets just obliterated. They don't know where they're going, what's up and down. So can you share how the difference between fear and uncertainty, how they overlap? Because I met you because of your Year Without Fear book, which I loved, and then we came to your group, but they do overlap, the fear and the uncertainty combined. So can you share which one do we conquer first? What do we do?
Oh my God, absolute fear and uncertainty are together, right? Because fear is constantly telling you these terrifying things about your life, which makes you feel more uncertain, which makes you feel less instinctive, which makes you feel less resourced in your strength. And so I think fear is a huge thing that we have to conquer. And that's what the uncertainty is for. Like in a crazy, crazy way, this uncertainty can be a gift, because it's going to be the time in your life that you discover how much fiber you have, how much genius you have, and also that you're not alone, that there's a spiritual context, that you have forces and resources that you don't even know about.
Didn't you have something in the book?
And in fact, I was just going to say that. Yes, perfect.
I want you to read that for us.
We're in sync already. So this is how I begin Thriving Through Uncertainty, and I'm just dedicating this to everybody listening right now. And it just says, you may feel like things are challenging at this moment in your life. But let's get this straight right now. It's not because you're failing or broken. It's because your spirit demands soaring, not coping. It's your time. And I thought this would be a perfect thing to share, because a lot of times when we're in that uncertainty, we feel so broken and scared and things are falling apart. But keep in mind, this is a transformation and alchemy. Your spirit is demanding soaring. And we've been used to a life of coping, and that's why this is here.
Yeah. And you know, when a victim of abuse goes through the breakup, or goes through a divorce, or you know, a no contact situation with a family member, you know, there's so much that's going on in them, and they paralyze, they just freeze, and they don't know what to do. And so you know, when someone's going through this paralyze, and they don't really know what uncertainty they're facing, how can they figure that out?
You know, I think the biggest thing that this is going to be calling us to, all of us, is cultivating a different relationship with ourselves. You cannot be harsh with yourself and uncover your instinctive genius. You can't, you know, especially when you're afraid and things are going on that, like you said, are out of your control, and circumstances and fears are rampant. The one thing you absolutely have to do is create a safe space for yourself, inside yourself, cultivating this inner voice of kindness. You got this, you can do this, calm down, slow down. And especially our minds are like racing ahead, trying to think of everything. But what if this? But what if that? And how do I this? And why didn't I do this? And I should have, whatever. And this is a moment to be really, really present. And again, with that kindness and with that safety, you will know what to do moment by moment. And that's what uncertainty teaches us. It teaches us a very different way to live. And, you know, and I loved your thing of like panicking through uncertainty, you know, of that's our first reaction. Everybody's first reaction is, oh my God, push this away. I'm panicking. I can't do this. Right. But it's asking us to come. Are you coming from the love inside you, or are you coming from the fear? Are you coming from the strength inside you, or are you coming from that weakness? And for me, it's really been about cultivating a different relationship with myself, which didn't come easy, you know, for most of us, you know.
And,
So
and that's the key here, is people, you know, if they're in a breakup, in a relationship that's ending like this, it is, I don't know who I am anymore. And
yes.
so how do I even muster this if I'm brokenhearted, or can't get out of bed, or can't pay for food next week? So the uncertainty is a more trauma-based uncertainty, right? And so it does come down to knowing your own power, right? And that's what your message here is that we had it all along. It's like the ruby slippers. You had the power all along, you know? So you know, in your book,
Exactly.
I remember there was something that you owe it to yourself to make braver
You know,
choices.
I'm just going to go back to what you just said for just 1 second, because I think it's really important, you know, of that in any major change. It's that, like, many of us took what we thought was the safe road, you know, like just play it safe, don't rock the boat, don't, change things, right? But then for many of us, it's like that safety became unsafe, right? The thing that we thought was predictable, or the thing we were doing to be safe. And so we didn't want to change, right? And most of us change. I know for myself, I didn't change because I woke up one day and thought, oh my God, I feel so inspired and I need to change my entire life, right? It was more desperation. It was more, I can't breathe any minute more. I mean, for me, it was a career transition of leaving a big legal career. Of, but the same thing, it was terrifying. It was terrifying because I thought a certain safety would guarantee me safety. And what happens is, like you said, you lose who you are. You start losing connection with your real self, with the love inside you. It starts slipping away, and you start believing the lie. You start believing, you know, for me in law, for instance, I didn't feel like I really fit because I really wanted to be a writer and I wanted to be creative, and that was my dream. And I started believing the lie of, well, this is your life and you're stuck and you're trapped and you're not that good at this, you know, and all those lies, because in the wrong environment, it feeds the wrong part of you. in the wrong environment, it feeds the wrong part of you. And so the most courageous thing you can ever do is, in stepping out of that environment, you've already made that change. You've already sided with something else. You've already set that into momentum. And like I said before, I do believe that this is an inspired or spiritual journey that, for me anyways, and for many of the clients I work with, it was really about opening up to a different power inside myself. It wasn't my brain anymore. It wasn't my willpower anymore. It was just needing to believe that I was led in some way, needing to believe that there was a different source of love. And there was. And it comes instinct by instinct, moment by moment. You will have help. You will have the breadcrumbs to follow. You're just scaring the heck out of yourself, but you're actually stronger in the moment where you're changing than in the moment when you're not.
Mhm.
Right. So I just thought that was a really important thing to let you know.
Absolutely. And what you were just saying too was they believe the recording, the fear recordings, right? That's what you were just talking about. And it ties into the fear, I'll never be able to take care of myself because that's what they told me, or,
Yes.
those things start to feed off. And I lived a regular diet of that kind of stuff.
Mm.
I had narcissistic parents, and I was like, last thing my father said to me before he died a month later was, "You're gonna write a book? Who the hell would read your book?"
Ah,
And like, you hear those recordings your entire life,
your
and you
entire
start to
life.
believe them. And
Yes,
so we've
yes.
heard the narcissist recordings: "You're not good enough. You'll never be. Yeah, that.
Right.
You have no right."
And then on top of it, there's society's recordings, right? Like on top of the narcissistic, if you have, that trauma, then there's also the cultural recordings, right? That say you're not good enough, stay safe. Like for me, it was the same thing. Like I wanted to be a writer my whole life when I was growing up. And I grew up in a, Jewish family, and I kept hearing, "You're gonna write, you're gonna starve." It was just that party line, get a real job, you're gonna starve. Right. And I thought that was practical. I thought that was reality. That's what I was fed. Then in school, that's what I was told as well. Like, don't do something that you love. Don't do something that moves you. That's unsafe. Why would you believe in yourself? We know better. We know better for you. This is
Mhm.
what's safe. And it takes so much courage to believe in ourselves, to believe in what's holy in us, what's only in us, because nobody knows what you're capable of
Mhm.
more than you do,
Yeah.
right? But we are constantly getting these messages, and the worst thing we can do is think that they're practical, that they're realistic, and I should just shut myself down. I should want less. I should just cope. I should just get by. And every one of you has this light in you that has capacities beyond what you could imagine. And I think all of us are being called at this time, in every situation, to truly listen and to rise up into who we're meant to be, because you're meant to feel safe, and you're meant to feel good, and you're meant to express your genius.
Absolutely. And in your book, you have this thing: we owe it to ourselves to make braver choices. And this so rolls into that, right? I mean, this is a brave choice. It might not have been your choice to get a divorce and leave your family home and all of the other horrible things that are going, but that part wasn't our choice. But where we go is,
Yes,
you know?
yes, 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 yes. And I think also it's like, for me, about making braver choice. I'm timid. It's funny, like most people who meet me always think that, oh, she's so bold and she's so fiery. And it's like, oh God, I'm so neurotic and scared all the time. And I would choose to make lesser choices. I would choose not to rock the boat. But when I say you owe it to yourself to make braver choices, it's you discover who you really are and what you're really capable of by making a slightly braver choice. And by the way, a braver choice doesn't have to be one big bold thing. So I give an example in my book, for instance, of, for me, I was in New York City at one point, and I can be claustrophobic. I can get really frightened by energy and too much and whatever. And I needed to take the subway, and I'm from New York City originally, so this is ridiculous. But fear is fear, right? And I needed to take the subway, and I was terrified to do it. And so I worked with myself. So this is what I do with my clients, and what I'm going to suggest with you. If you're going to make a braver choice, can you make the decision to say, I'm going to do this tiny little thing?
Mhm.
I'm going to be infinitely kind with myself. I'm giving myself permission to back out if I get scared. And I'm also telling myself, I'll choose again. I'll come back to this. Right. So that's what I did. I got on the subway and I just like, I was in that, subway car, and my normal hostile voice would be like, what is wrong with you? Every other person here can bear this. What is wrong with you that you have to be a freak? Right. But I just kept coaxing myself like, honey, it's okay. You can get out at the next stop. You don't even have to take this the whole way. You have a credit card. You could take a cab, whatever you need, honey. But can you go just a little bit further? Can you try it? And I talked to myself that the whole way there. And like every time we were to stop, I was like, oh, I have to get out. And it's like, well, I'm going to try it a little more. So that's what I want to offer to you, is that in these times of change, when you're making brave choices, you don't have to be brave all at once. It's a muscle. We're building it. And you build it through this infinite kindness, but also the fierceness of, and I will choose again. I will not back down. I might give myself permission to back out, but I will not back down.
Yeah.
So,
and what you were just saying brought up a story that I want to share, that when I had a career during my marriage and post marriage, and I was in the marketing business, and for about 4 years, I did both jobs. I was a coach and I did my marketing clients as well. And so I got really trained in 12-hour days, but then I was like, this is getting exhausting. And I said, I'm just going to go take a walk. It was a beautiful spring day. And I'm like, universe, spirit, give me a sign. Just give me a sign, please. Because like, show me the way I should go. Should I just cut bait and let go of the marketing job and go into this all the way? I was so uncertain of, will that support me? Will I be able to live all the recordings that we're throwing at ourselves? And I always go out of my driveway and I take a left. And like spirit just said, go right. I'm like, okay, don't know where I'm going, but okay. So there's no trail that way, but I walked that way and I ended up paralleling the golf course that's behind my house, and well, there's a trail. Let me go down there. Spirit, please send me the sign. Send me the sign. Oh, there's a feather on the floor. And I'm like, feathers are good signs. Thank you. Thank you. I picked up the feather, but I kept walking. Within 20 feet, maybe 30 feet, I picked up 200 feathers. I still have them in a jar in my bedroom. They are like, this was the sign, and that was the defining moment of the uncertainty, which way you're going to go, Tracy. First, you took a different path, right? And then, how many more feathers do you want, lady? And they were the entire ride home. Everything I walked by, I was like, oh my God, enough fun. And they were like physically sticking out of the ground. Have you ever seen a feather like with the pointy part in the ground? It was like someone like put them there for me. And I'm like
someone did.
It was amazing. It was a universal, like, this is the uncertainty. And then what you want, I just wanted to share that because it was my pinnacle
Such
point.
a beautiful, beautiful example. And to other people, right? Like to other people that you might tell that to, they might go, really? You're going to base your entire career on a feather was on the ground? And it's like, hell yes, I am. Because you can't even describe the feeling of that personal connection, of that recognition that I'm not alone in this. That again, there are resources in our minds and our abilities and our spiritual instincts that we haven't tapped because we've been in fear, because we've been in willpower, because we've been choosing against ourselves. We've been choosing against what we really want. And when we start to choose what we really, really want, I think that's when the universe opens up. That is such a beautiful, beautiful story.
I love my feathers. I used to keep them back there, but now I have, you can't make this shit up buttons back there. They got changed a little bit, but at the same time, it was that spiritual moment of the uncertainty. Which way do I go? Which way do I go? And it's not going to be that way for everyone. But like you said, it's one step. Go right, Tracy, just see what's there. And then give me some more signs. Oh, here they are.
And that's such a very important point, especially you mentioned before, like if somebody's feeling paralyzed, right? Or you're feeling really unmotivated or paralyzed, taking a step helps. Because most times we're thinking, but I need a guarantee. I need to know this is going to work before I take a step. And it's the exact opposite, that taking a step is the guarantee. That if you take a step, it activates something else in you. It activates different brain chemistry. It gives you different perspective. It's motivating. It's activating. when we're paralyzed, we can just get lost in that reality and we can forget who we really, really are.
Mhm.
And when we start taking these steps and we start connecting and we start experiencing life anew, that's when things really happen. And for me, that's what thriving through uncertainty is that, all of life is uncertain and there's going to be so many decisions that are going on all the time. And again, we're always going to want to know the exact right thing. But I'm going to ask you to be looser with things, that things don't have to work out right away. It doesn't have to be that the first thing you do, it didn't work, so nothing's going to work, right? That's usually the go-to thought. But it's like, can we be looser with this? I always tell my clients, be sporadic. I don't need you to be committed. I need you to be sporadic. I need you to be non-judgmental. I need you to try it. Make it safe to try. Make it safe to act and keep going, and something will always kick in. And if
And
not, there's be 100 feathers for you.
it was like I got hit with
100
this big
feathers.
backpack and dumped him on the floor. My son was like,
God.
"What
Oh
are
my
you gonna
God.
do with those?" I'm like, "This aside." But I think a lot of people struggle with that. They think because they're uncertain of their future,
Mhm.
it's going to be worse,
Ooh,
right?
say more about that. What do you mean?
So I'm afraid I don't know where I'll live or what I'll do if I'm not married or I have to move out of my house. I'm afraid. But we don't know that on the other side is a rainbow, right? We always
Absolutely.
think uncertainty is a negative fear because the fear is
Yes.
attached to it.
Yes.
We established that in the beginning, but
Yes.
it's sort of like,
And that's the whole thing right there. That's the whole thing right there, is because I'm thinking from fear, right? And who wouldn't, right? But I'm thinking from fear. So that's what I'm projecting into the future,
yeah,
right? Instead of that, but what if it could work out?
what
But
if
what
I
if
could
there's some
fly?
like,
That
what if Tama's book is right and this isn't about coping, it's about soaring? What if this change is here because my spirit demanded something else, something bigger, something better for me? You
Mhm.
know, I have a story in the book too that talks a little bit about that. It was the story where I had to walk by a bear. I'll just tell it very, very briefly. But I was hiking with a boyfriend at the time, and we didn't prepare properly at all. And we were in the Northwest, and we were like, oh, we could hike to the ocean. That would be incredible. And we didn't bring enough stuff with us or whatever. And we were hiking and hiking, and I started realizing, we're not going to make it to the ocean, and we need to get back before it gets dark, because it was starting to get dimmer and darker and cooler, and we weren't prepared. And so we start walking back, and I hear this weird noise, like this knocking weird noise. I'm not nature girl either, and so I look in, and there's this blackness behind these trees, and I'm looking, I'm like, I don't see anything, but I'm hearing some, and I see this blackness, and all of a sudden I realize, oh my God, that blackness takes the shape of a bear. And I'm realizing, oh my God, I'm looking at a bear. And so instinctively, I ran backwards, right? Like I just ran backwards. And then we had this decision to get out of this trail. We had to walk by the bear. That was the only way to get out. And everything in my fear self said, yeah, let's not bother. Let's just stay here. Oh, sure, it'll get cold and we'll die of hyperthermia, but at least it'll be comfortable, right? And it was such a metaphor, because it was like I could stay in the comfort, which felt good, but it was certain death, because I knew that it would get cold and it would be hypothermia, and then we really wouldn't be okay. Or I could face the unpleasantness of, I'm going to walk by the bear. I'm going to give myself a chance to go the way out. I'm going to give myself that chance, because when you say the uncertainty of the future, we keep comparing it to a past that we think is available or that we think is okay, but it wasn't okay. And
Mhm.
it's not available. So there's no freaking choice, right? It's not like even a choice. And
Mhm.
again, you are now making the choice to save your own life. You are now making the choice to go for your grace, your biggerness. It can't not work out. You're choosing for yourself, with yourself. That's when things are going to unfold in a whole different way.
And I tell people when they're with a narcissist that, if they're sad and I don't want to leave them, I didn't want to, it wasn't my choice. We don't know if we're being saved. And most of the time we are, because
Absolutely.
universe, spirit, God, whatever you believe in is going not healthy.
You know,
Ever.
And the really coolest thing about this too, so my dad was a narcissist. I don't know if you know that,
I
but my
remember
dad,
that.
yeah, so my dad was a narcissist. So I grew up in that. And And the thing about it was I was taught on some level to completely doubt my own reality. Like just to completely, I never trusted my instincts. I never trusted my opinion of, I had no, if you told me that's green when I'm seeing blue, it's like, okay, I think it is green. I can see the green in it, right? Like, and so this path, leaving, when I left law and without money, without a plan, without anything to follow instincts, it was like this spiritual healing. It's like saying, you are now going to have to trust your reality, right? Like I am now rejecting the reality that I've been spoon fed, and I'm going to have to learn what my reality is.
Mhm.
And that was terrifying. And I didn't want that. It wasn't like I said, oh, wow, that sounds like a fun spiritual lesson. I didn't want that. But in retrospect, it's probably been the greatest thing that's ever happened in my life,
Mhm.
because it forced me, like, that's the thing about uncertainty. When you don't have a known path or a prescribed path, or there's no, set thing, it's going to force you to start owning who you are and listening to who you are. And that's the greatest gift you'll ever get. For me, that was such a major healing.
And it's fighting for your life, just like we're describing. You know what? I'm going to take this choice and I'm going to fight for it instead of going, oh, darn, I got to change my life, my career, and move, right? I don't know what the future is going to be. And I said to someone the other day, since my marriage 10 years ago, divorce, I've been in this apartment, in this condo for 10 years, and I have never in my entire life been so happy. Yet for me, I was like, my marital home and all my neighbors and my friends, and all of that was there because I wasn't able to look and go, maybe there's something better. Do you really need a big house like that? You're not a good lawnmower girl. This might be better for you, right? It's we don't know what it is, but instead of
Yes.
fearing it, embracing it, and going, I don't know what the future brings, but I'm excited to see it.
Yes, I love that. And it's interesting because when you were saying that, I kept thinking, I have a tagline in my first book, This Time I Dance, Creating the Work You Love, which was about career stuff, where it just said, if you're this successful doing work you don't even love, what could you do with what you love? And I think it's the same thing here, right? If you were that successful being in an environment that was crippling you, that was destroying your soul, that was negating you, how successful can you be when you're finally in a safer environment? Or like I look at you, Tracy, and it's like your one choice to save your life has now opened up into this amazing calling where you are now saving thousands and thousands of other lives. And there are so many of us, I believe, that have so many talents and gifts to give, and a calling inside us, and a an expression of so much love that we didn't even know, because we were surviving. You were talking about surviving now, but I think we were surviving then. It was
Mhm.
just so hostile, and it was just so, again, it was so negating your true self. And when you embrace your true self, the whole world opens up. And like you said, it may look very different. When, I left law and I got a tiny little studio apartment, and I was never happier in my life, because for me, it was freedom. It was like, I don't want to be owned by a career. I want to discover who I am. Right.
Mhm.
So, and again, society tells us you need this to be okay. You need that to be okay. It needs to look a certain way. And for me, the way that we thrive through uncertainty, it's not about how it looks. It's about how it feels. It's not about how somebody else sees it. It's about what is working for you and your soul right now. And that is all that matters.
Yeah. And fighting for it, fight for that life, fight for the I don't knows, but I'll be excited. I'll when it gets there, I'll know, right? We will have so much uncertainty in a narcissistic relationship and a breakup or a marriage, but instead of fearing it, embrace it and thrive through uncertainty. So I know you have a free gift for my audience. Can you tell everyone about that?
I will. And I'll just say one quick thing about what you were just saying, if that's okay. And it's like, I also want people to know about, in thriving through uncertainty, it doesn't mean we're up all the time. It doesn't mean that we're happy and excited all the time. It means we're just putting one step in front of the other. It means that you're being kinder to today to yourself than you were before. And if part of you is frightened, that's okay. And love that part and be gentle with that part, right? So, because again, we can start thinking, I'm not doing it right, you know, and it's like, if you're putting one step in front of the other, you're doing great. So, I do have a gift. I'm really excited to offer
Very
this because,
excited about
yes,
this.
it was one of my most popular webinars, and I just thought this would be perfect to offer to you guys for free. It's called Dare to Decide, making the most important decisions of your lifetime. And so it was people who asked all kinds of questions about, how do I know? How do I really make that right decision? How do I make another decision? All the things that come up. So I use my best coaching strategies in it, and it's free for you guys. And it's at tamakieves.com/dare. So it's a secret little link for you for tamakieves.com/dare. And it also hooks you up with my newsletter, which is my fortune cookies, which keep you inspired every single week. It's different digital fortune cookies that come to you. So I hope you get inspired. I'd love to support you. I'm building a global family of those of us who are living in inspiration instead of fear, and you belong with us.
Yeah. And I'm going to make one more plug for you, because this book literally took me out of my fear, and I went through it. I still have things in it, and it's here for 5 years now. And I read it every single day, and it inspired me. And it's just a daily thing. Do you want to read today? You have the book right
Oh,
behind
sure. Let's do that. I didn't even
close on that.
Sure. I don't even know what today's.
I just
What
think
is today's?
so it is May 11th.
May 11th. Let's do it. I'll read it. We'll close.
Yeah.
I have no idea which one it is, but we'll find out.
Already know all is well.
All right. Let me, May 11th, you
I
said, right?
surprised her,
Okay,
everybody.
here it is. Part of me knows that all is well. Another part of me darts her eyes, afraid to trust what she knows. Part of me knows I'm golden. The other part nurses disappointment. It's okay to feel this dichotomy. We won't shift into an inspired life all at once. The apple tree doesn't grow buds or blossoms instantaneously. Several branches are dormant. In some moments, the tree is part winter, part spring, and part summer. Today, I accept that blossoming doesn't take place all at once.
Isn't that lovely, everybody? I'm telling you, this book, if you are struggling with the fears, get it. And then when you're ready and when you want to start to learn how to get through this, I will put all the links down below. We're going to have the links to your giveaway and your website. And I can't thank you enough for being here. As I said at the beginning, you are my guru, and you left your Harvard job and your law firm, and you have changed so many lives, including mine. And I'll be back in my Course in Miracles soon.
I hope so. And Tracy, I so appreciate what you're doing for this planet and this world, and you following your calling. And you are one drop that is creating an entire ocean of possibility out there. Thank you so much for your courage.
Look at all those pins back there. Those are where my clients are. So I have clients in Russia and clients all over the world. And if I didn't step into my power, I'd still be making websites for, dentists. And that's not that much fun. Just like
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I hope that you guys found something helpful in that. If you are looking how to thrive through this uncertainty that you're going through, I highly recommend that you get her book. It is life-changing, and it's exactly what we need when we are struggling with this uncertainty of what will I do now, and who am I now, and how do I get there, and all of the questions that most survivors reach. So I suggest that you take advantage of her free gift. I'll put a link down below, and go grab that free gift, because every time she's on the screen and she's teaching me, I just learned so much. So teach the teachers, so to speak. So this is Tracy Malone again. Thank you so much for watching. If you are not subscribed to my channel, please do. And if you like this one, please check that little like button so YouTube says, hey, this must be important. So I'll see you again next time, and thank you so much for coming.